Well, time for me to report. You know, I was sitting at the kitchen table once again, the same old deal. You get these thoughts, and you come here, turn on this computer, set up my recording abilities, and your mind goes blank. So let me pause a minute. Father, is this of importance? Is one of those things to know, not tell? And sometimes he'll give me things and say, "Just no, don't tell it. It's too hard to explain. Just you'd ask, I'd answer it for you." So let me pause and see if there's anything he wants to give me. Last week I went to Walmart, and as I was coming out, I met a friend's wife, Shirley, a friend of mine, Shirley Prince. Her husband and I used to get together and we studied the Word of God. That was, my God, 30, 40 years ago. We used to get together in his house, or he would come to my house. Him and a few other friends and I, we would study the Word of God. And we had some powerful times together. She said, "Did you hear?" I said, "What?" She said that Jim, her husband, has Alzheimer's. As soon as she said that, right out of my mouth, now it seems kind of cruel, but right out of my mouth I said, "Forgetting those things which are past, we press forward to the prize of God's high calling." I said, "God, you know, what we're calling Alzheimer's might fit what Paul has said, and though the outward man is decaying, yet the inward man is being renewed day by day, being made fit for new existence." And Paul also said, "Forgetting those things which are past." I also said that to Shirley. "Forgetting those things which are past, we press forward to the prize of God's high calling." I've always said how God has to wean us from this life and existence. Matters that seem so important when we were younger, when we get older, they aren't as important as they used to be. And for the life of you, you sit there and try to recall those memories. It's hard to recall. Now, you can sit there and wrestle with your brain and try to recall people, places, names, and stuff like that, but you just can't seem to remember anymore. If you did that and people heard you, they would say, "Oh, you're getting Alzheimer's. You're forgetting things." Now, when I was 20 years old, I could forget things. No one said that. But now that I'm 69, if I forget anything, normally, like anybody else would forget things, well, you have to wrestle with your brain to retrieve the thought or what the memory of something, and then, "Oh, you're getting old, you're losing your mind." God says to a generation that if they keep using the mind for that which it was intended to be used for, which is the definition of the word reprobate. God gives them over to reprobate mind. God will give you over to that mind. If you follow just the soul and its intellect and its emotions, have not tapped into your quickened human spirit. Paul definitely says, I believe it's Romans chapter 8, about you're on your way to dying. If you walk according to the flesh, we know what flesh means. It's talking about how you feel and think, the world, the flesh, and the devil around you, and you inevitably inhale it to exhale it. If you depend upon just that, and don't, when you observe, like I said, we're on this narrow road, I look left and right. Now, I don't try to sit there and wrestle my mind, who's right and who's wrong, left and right of this road. I just observe, watch and pray, then go up the road further, and then ask God, what was that all about? And then he tells you, and through your spirit. Now, my soul mind, like Jesus said to the Pharisees, "I have many things to say and judge of you, but the one who sent me is true." In other words, he had his opinion. Now, I could watch left and right of this road and come up with my personal opinion. What I think of these presidential candidates, Donald Trump and the rest of all that stuff. I don't want to get into that. So I'm asking God, on this narrow road, after I've watched and prayed, you watch first, then you got to pray about it. And you communicate with God about it. Get rid of that multi word prayer, lip service. You ask God. Then through the Spirit, we wait through the Spirit for righteousness, Paul says. The answer to your question will come. Now, if he don't want to answer it, he won't answer it. Sometimes he doesn't answer it because it's trivia, it's stupid, it's distracting elements. But many times he answers your questions up the road. Now, it's one of those know and don't tell things, because people don't know where you've been, what you've studied, what you understand, know, and they'll think it as just Paul Woodward's opinion. Is it just my opinion? I don't want to reprobate mind, so I have slowly come to the point where I'm stopped using mind for that which God never intended to be used for. It's to see and hear, feel and think, observe through your senses of your body. Then, after you get that, submitting every self-elevated thought, therefore, unto Christ. Christ in you. You quicken your spirit, who leads you to Jesus, who often finished this whole life experience, and who explain what's happened. Viva the will of the Father. So, I'm rambling. But God, I've seen that today, and I'm saying, my God, how do I put this in the word? Well, it's as close as I can get to it, and I don't know, it's one of those don't tell things. But, you have, those of you who get this to Dropbox, just because you've been following what I've been sharing in other videos, and I've talked to you about this narrow road. This is an example of what I mean by being on a narrow road. You don't stop using your mind. Stop trying to, that's what part of it came out. Stop trying to figure things out. I've been a good one for that. Always trying to analyze stuff and figure it out. That's the flesh. You always got to know. It's time God said, you don't need to know this right now. This goes along with a text I use quite a bit where it says, Paul said, no, we're not sufficient in ourselves to evaluate anything. So the question would be, why do we keep trying to do that? No, it's the flesh. It's got to know. I got to know. You got to know. It was like with Dirty Harry, that movie, remember? He had a gun pointing at the guy, and he'd been firing shots, and he said to him, you don't know if I fired all of the shots of this gun. And he's standing with a gun to the guy, and the guy says to him, I got to know. So he clicks the gun, he had fired all the bullets off, so the guy gets all upset, and he arrests him, takes him to jail. And, oh my God, do we just gotta know? Like Solomon said, increase of knowledge, increase of grief, and wisdom comes hard. Do you really want to know? My God, there's times I wish I didn't know half the things I know. The state of this world, the true problem, how those around me don't even see the problem to gain the solution that God has already given us. God gave us an answer, a solution to this whole problem. Yet it sounds like so much religion, and there's distortion of that solution. Like I said, many people are giving you a solution before they really address the problem. Why did they do that? Because they don't know the real problem themselves. It's not a matter of legalistic ideas of gaining God's favor. Here I go again. Every time I get into something, I always got to get in that. See, justification, sanctification, glorification of God established before the foundation of the world. That's the basic message. I just sent that out email to all of you, trying to get you into salvation deliverance, that series I got. The essence of my message. Listen to them back to back. You don't have to. You can do what you want to do. You've heard it all. A lot of times I'm repetition what I have to say. Don't blame me, blame God. He says keep repeating it. It's got to sink into our head. Christ has addressed the problem, solved the problem, and he did it before we were even born. Thank God for that. Talk about peace. Peace that passes all the understanding of this world around you, left and right of this road. His peace does. There's a peace that comes. That was part of what I had earlier this morning. A sense of peace overcame me. And I said, God, I don't have to figure it all out anymore. He said, no, it's already been figured out. It was all finished before you was born. Get into that. And that wisdom knowledge that's hidden in your spirit. And stop looking to the world for wisdom knowledge. Find out how he authored and finished this before he was born. Deep sense of peace. He'll sustain you. He saved you, sustained you, and fear, true love casts out fear. That's another thing that came out doing that. Over my cup of coffee at the kitchen table this morning. A sense of peace that passes all understanding. I was watching some movie the other night, and it was one of these crazy science fiction movies. And I just kind of listened to it. I was bored, nothing else to do. And I got watching it. Then I said, well, Lord, I'm going to watch this. He said, listen. So I kept watching this stupid movie, and then something was said. He said, without getting into who the movie was all about, sometimes I do that. I go long, lengthy explanation, explaining the movie and everything else. You lose what's the point. Here's what came out. He says, fear. Don't fear. He said, know that there's a present danger, but don't fear. I said, my God, that sounds like Psalm 23 that you had me memorize just lately. True love casts out fear. Fear has torment. He says fear isn't real. He said there's a present danger, you deal with it. But the fear of danger, there's nothing to fear but fear itself. Remember that famous quote? There's no reason to be afraid. We have true love, God's unconditional love, established before the world ever began. We should have no reason to fear anything. True love casts out fear. That perfect love. So, I mean, that was some of the thoughts I got sitting there at the kitchen table with a cup of coffee. Sometimes, and I don't dare set up a microphone out there in the kitchen because I probably would never even get the thought. Sometimes they're personal between him and I. But I share it with you. I don't know if I would even put this, and this will not go out on YouTube. This comes via Dropbox. Well, I paused this recording, went back out, had another cup of coffee, and I jotted these thoughts down this time. I said, just not the whole thing, but physical pain. He started talking about physical pain. I brought this out before. Pain's alarm initiates newness. P-A-I-N. So pain's alarm initiates newness. He's drawing us to something that's going to take care of something. That's why we've heard the expression joy in pain. In that sense of life, pain is a teacher. It's leading to something better. Paul says it, remember? Well, think of it. Though the outward man is decaying, what's that feel like? Well, I'm 69. I know how it feels like. I know Marie has expressed some of her pains, and Mary has expressed her pains. Each one of us have expressed some sense of, George has, every one of us has some form of physical, emotional, intellectual pains in our lives, right? And if you're getting those pains, thank God for them. Like Paul said in Romans 5, he rejoiced in tribulation because it brought him to what he's giving us in the written word of God. Apart from those experiences and persevering under those experiences, he would never have learned what he learns and never would have discovered real true sense of hope, which had nothing to do with this world. He had said earlier in his writings that, like I just said, though the outward man is decaying, yet the inward man is being renewed day by day, being made fit for new existence. He began to realize that. And then he began to realize that this inward man that's being renewed day by day, he gets this aha moment and realizes that in this older years of your life, or any time of your life, you could put on what he's put in you and this inward man, and you can live out the inward man, putting off the outer man and putting on the inward man that's been renewed after what God had intended. Like I said, you're working it out, It's not that you're trying to put something there. You can let go of what you got out here to gain what's inside there. It's a big difference in what religious people are doing. They take the verse and thy word, if I hid in my heart, then might not sin, or act independent from you. Well, he gives it to you. You put it into your subconscious basis. Subconscious basis puts it into your human spirit, quickened. And through that spirit, you put on the spirit, and you learn to walk in that spirit, not in the flesh. It's a process. And most people are going through this process, and this secular world gives it the label of Alzheimer's, My God in heaven. You understand, when you get to walk through that gate, go to the bema seat of Christ, you walk through the fire stones that burn away the wood hand stubble of the world, the flesh, and the devil, that the inward man passes through that gate. And everything here is erased, forgotten, never called to mind again. That's for the called out assembly. Now, during the millennial reign, it says at the end of the millennium, all tears are washed away, and everything were forgotten, never called to mind again. And then they go into new heavens and new earth. It's not needed. Now, I said, I had brought that out about the millennial reign. And during the millennium, am I going to remember Bridgeton, New Jersey? Am I going to remember my wife, my kids? When I come back as this army? No, I won't. All that will be forgotten, never called to mind again. Apart from, if I came back with all this soulish weakness of emotions and thought, have not, developed my spirit, I wouldn't want to come back to my soul and its emotions and thoughts concerning the world, the flesh, and the devil, and the world around me. You wouldn't be able to deal with it. You're going to have to deal with the world. You're going to judge the nations. Now, if you're hung up in your soul's opinions and ideas of your existence in this life, you won't be able to do that. You'll come back with a complete renewed mind. Remember I expressed the fact about Mickey Mouse putting on the hat? And the warning is that we don't put on the hat because we make a mess, acting independent from God, thinking God's asleep, and I have to deal with the problem like Mickey did and created a flood. We wait to be glorified. We're justified, we're being sanctified, being made fit, being prepared for this new existence. And then one day we'll be glorified. Now glorify me with the glory we had in the beginning. But Jesus said that. He was the Son of Man. He set the example. Now he's glorified. One day we will be glorified and we'll come back. Now I'll say it this way. You'll come back, you'll be Mickey with the hat. You'll have God-given rights to exercise that right. The rights of an unfallen Adam. You'll be the Son of God that God intended you to be, and you'll be able to do during that millennial 1,000-year reign of Christ on earth. You'll be able to deal with the nations. You'll be able to deal with the goats, and you'll know the sheep. I mean, that's part of this advanced ACS. I talk about advanced Christian studies. What are you going to do during the millennium? You're not going to do anything you've been doing here. Anything you did here has its value, but it's not a value as far as the carnal soul is concerned. Your opinion and ideas. It will be what you have learned during this time period. You've learned stuff, and you'll apply it during that millennial reign. So, I mean, I keep saying I'm going to end this, but that's about basically all I got off that. I just said everything. I jotted out here, quick notes. To learn to put off and put on. That can start now, So God bless you.